rides. Gert Hamburg, Cradley Heath, English League runner, is at the front of the pack for Denmark. In blue, Sam Ermolenko, the US rider. Ermolenko looking to try and make a move on Gert Hamburg. In third place is Jimmy Nilsson of Sweden, and trailing at the back is Gary Havelock, England team captain. It's got to be said, the English team, made up of many youngsters, and really and truly they are going to be struggling against this extremely classy field, the Danes of which must be the favourites for the title. They're on the last turn. No great surprises, I suppose. Gert Hamburg then takes the win from Sam Ermolenko, Gary Havelock in third, and Jimmy Nilsson in fourth. And there are the rundowns of the point scoring so far. The Swedes, back to no points whatsoever. Watching the tape, left white helmet of Tommy Knudsen, and an absolute flyer from the outside gate. Absolute flyer from him. Billy Hamill slots into second place. So we have Tommy Knudsen leading for the Danes. Billy Hamill in second place in the blue helmet for the Americans. In the red helmet in third place is Henrik Gustafsson for the Swedes, and trailing at the back in yellow and black is Marvin Cox, looking to try and open his account with a point if possible, but it's a tall order indeed, especially when the Danes are flying on their home track. So Tommy Knudsen leads the second heat of the World Team Speedway Final at Vojens in Denmark. Tommy Knudsen, 29 years old, has a superb World Team Cup final record and improves upon it. Just one more race win. So Tommy Knudsen takes the win from Billy Hamill. So heat 3 comes out onto the track now. This is going to be an interesting one. Hans Nielsen, third place in the World Individual Team Final. World Individual Final, I should say. Just a couple of weeks ago. Rickardsson there in the red helmet for Sweden, second in the individual final. So in the white helmet, Hans Nielsen. In the yellow and black helmet, Martin Duggan. And in the red, Tony Rickardson. In the blue, Ronnie Corey for the US. And the third heat is underway, and again that outside gate looks quick. Martin Duggan in yellow and black slots into second place behind Hans Nielsen, Danish team captain, third in the World Championship, individual World Championship at Oxford. League rider, well, Hans Nielsen absolutely flying at the front of the field, and Martin Duggan coming under all sorts of pressure for that second place. Tony Rickardsson, the Swede, giving him a hard time all the way around. Can Duggan hang on to second place in the third heat? Duggan still sits there, so we're on the last lap. Hans Nielsen leads from Duggan. Martin Duggan, 22 years old, making his World Team Cup final debut, and what a way to open his account as well, with second place holding off the man who finished second in the individual world final. But Hans Nielsen wins the third heat from Martin Duggan. A great ride from him. Running score so far, and the Danes absolutely dominating the scoring so far with a maximum 9 points from their first three heats. We're on heat 4. The tapes are ready. And an absolute flyer from Jano Petersen. He got the drive out of the outside gate and was a unbelievable start from Petersen. His first ride of the evening, current world champion, blasting away from Per Johnson, Swedish team captain, in second place in the red helmet, and Chris Louis, the Ipswich rider, in yellow and black in third. Greg Hancock bringing up the rear for the US. Well, they won't be happy with their start to the evening's entertainment, that's for sure. This is the fourth heat of 20, and Jano Petersen, well, dominating this fourth heat. And the rider's fairly well spread out now on the last lap. Jano Petersen takes yet another 3 points for the Danish team. A bit of a battle going on the back there for the last point. But Janne Pedersen then wins the fourth heat of the evening for heat 5 of the World Teams Final from Vojens in Denmark. Our scores along the bottom of the screen there show just how much Denmark is dominating this championship, but all the three other teams are equal on 4 points. So a big fight on for second place in this team final championship. And in white is Hans Nielsen, captain for the Danish team. Billy Hamel is in the blue helmet for the US. Jimmy Nilsson in the red helmet for the Swedes. And in the yellow and black helmet is Chris Louis of Ipswich for the England Lions team. And Louis there holding the inside of the track. But Hans Nielsen, the man in the white helmet, rides the bumps on this slick 300 metre track. Well, I've said it already. Denmark have their 9th World Team win, and they've never been beaten at an international meeting at the track at Vojens. And they had a secret test session here prior to this race. The last lap then, Hans Nielsen. Just one more turn to go. Oh, an unbroken maximum so far for the Danes. Incredible riding indeed. So, Hans Nielsen wins from Billy Hamel for the US, from Jimmy Nilsson for the Swedish team, and from Chris Louis for the Brits. Heat 6 then, straight on to Heat 6. There are our point scoring. The Americans at last gaining an edge over the trailing two teams of Britain and Sweden. Watch the tape. And again, the Danes absolutely get the power down from the tapes. Janne Pedersen in white, Samo Malenko in blue, Henrik Gustafsson in red helmet, and Martin Duggan in the yellow and black. So Duggan, a great ride from him in his opening ride of the evening, but Janne Pedersen, current world champion. Well, it really is a question on how anybody is going to beat the Danes. So far we've seen them dominate this meeting from the start. Janne Pedersen on the second ride of the night. Pedersen's 28 years old and in scintillating form. Martin Duggan trailing at the back of this bunch. He's not going to pick up a point, so Janne Pedersen wins. 3 points for him. Samo Malenko, the US team captain, in second place. Henrik Gustafsson in third, and Martin Duggan without a point in fourth. There's a style. Heat 7 then, and the lineup is in the blue helmet Greg Hancock for the US, in the white helmet Gert Hanberg, in the red Tony Rickardsson, and in the yellow and black Marvin Cox. So this should be quite a well balanced race indeed. There is Marvin Cox getting himself ready. Blue helmet of Greg Hancock. Then Hans Nielsen took in the Brian Carter. For the Danish team, and Heat 7 gets underway. Well, Marvin Cox found himself there with a whole load of drive out of the gate. So Cox in the lead. Give me that got the lead. So Cox was on the outside of Cox and was determined to take that place. And indeed Cox finds himself going from first to last, all in one move. So Greg Hancock leads from Gert Hanberg from the Swedes. James and Tony Rickardsson from the Swedes in red. Well, what a battle going on for the last point here. Marvin Cox is battling all the way for that last point. And at the moment, Greg Hancock is going to get 3 points on the last lap. Gert Hanberg, second place. Gert Hanberg. Second place. It's the Americans that are going to get a maximum here. In third is Tony Rickardsson, holding off a determined effort from Marvin Cox of the England Lions. But the Americans claw back at least one extra point over the Danes. Is it going to be enough? That's the question, of course. Heat 8 then. A lineup being Tommy Knudsen, Per Johnson, the captain for the Swedes, Gary Havelock, the captain for the England Lions, and Ronnie Corey for the US. That's Ronnie Corey in the blue helmet. Red helmet, Per Johnson for this team. in. So white for the Danes, red for the Swedes, blue for the US, and yellow and black for the English team. Fire from the Danes on the inside gate. Look at that man, Gary Hammerlock. He really was making the most out of a good start there, and Gary Hammerlock loses second place. Well, I was going to say that hanging on there to second place, but Johnson for the Swedes moves through into second. Meanwhile, Tommy Knudsen leads for the World Team Final. Johnson looking for the inside. Tommy Knudsen holding it. Well, the racing not exactly been the most exciting speedway I've ever seen, but certainly very fast indeed. The last lap then for Tommy Knudsen in the white helmet, leading Per Johnson, Swedish team captain, from Gary Hammerlock in third place, hanging on to that 1 point from Ronnie Corey for the US, trailing in last place. Well, a disaster indeed for the current champions, which are the Americans. They really do seem to be struggling with the points at the moment. Paul Thorpe, back for English Lions. In blue, and it is, I was about to say, Jano Peterson gating his fingers there with Jimmy Nilsson for the Swedish team in second place, and Rick Nelson for the Americans in third. Of course, full order for him, back in fourth, 27 years old, right to Magnum. But at the moment, this race is led by Jano Peterson. 28 years old. Lead. Jimmy Nilsson, the Swede in the red helmet. 24 years old. Derek on the last lap. Jano Peterson on for a personal maximum. Dropped at the moment, as far as I can see, just 1 point out of all the Danish guys, which has got to be an incredible achievement. And they really are working as a tremendous team. So Jano Peterson takes the win, heat 10 then. And the lineup is, as you can see there, Greg Hancock in the blue helmet, white helmet Hans Nielsen, yellow and black helmet Gary Havelock, and Henrik Gustafsson in red. So, Greg Hancock trying to salvage the current championship honour, leads the Heat 10 halfway stage of this championship. Greg Hancock, the American, riding number 7 there, holding off Hans Nielsen in the white helmet. Well, that'll give him a lot of pleasure. Trailing by so many points. Hold on, Hans Nielsen, he'll fall back 1 more point on the day. So, Greg Hancock leads from Hans Nielsen, from Gary Havelock for the English Lions, from Henrik Gustafsson for the Swedes. Gets himself out in the dirt, looks for the drive. He's getting a pretty slippery guy now. And off around the drive to beat the American. Greg Hancock then takes 3 points from Hans Nielsen, from Gary Havelock, from Henrik Gustafsson. So we're on to Heat 11. Tommy Knudsen, Sam Amalenko, Tony Rickardson and Chris Louis. Oh, look at the lead the Danes have. The Brits trailing with 6 points now. They've really got to watch out for this. If they don't do a bit better than this, they're going to find themselves having to qualify for this series next year. Won't go down well. That'll be the first time, incidentally, if the British team stays where they are at the moment, that'll be the first time they've ever had to qualify for a World Team Final, if that indeed is what happens. Heat 11. Knudsen leads from Sam Amalenko in blue, from the red helmeted Tony Rickardson, from Chris Louis in 4th place, and not picking any points up for the England Lions. Well, a bit of a disaster for those. I think that's an understatement. Chris Louis, only 22 years old, finds himself really in very, very deep water indeed. Despite the determined efforts of the English team, they really are struggling with this. Tommy Knudsen leads heat 11 from Sam Ermolenko, US team captain. Ermolenko, 30 years old, very experienced in these meetings, but it is Tommy Knudsen that takes the win from Sam Ermolenko, from Tony Rickardson, from Chris Louis. For the Danes, and Martin Duggan in yellow and black for the England Lions. There you're looking at Martin Duggan. Well, he had a good opening ride, so watch the tapes. And away for heat 12 of the 20. Oh, dear me, that was extremely close there. Duggan had absolutely nowhere to go and just had to lay it down into the turn. So, Bert Johnson got the better of that, just about. Bert Johnson, the Swede, leads from the blue helmeted Billy Hamill, from Gert Handberg, from Martin Duggan. Oh, not quite. Martin Duggan there in third place. Bert Johnson holding off Billy Hamill in this heat 12. Gert Handberg just about holding off Martin Duggan now. Duggan do what he might, try and get that point. Leading him. We're on to the last lap. Bert Johnson leads from Billy Hamill, from Gert Handberg for the Danes, from Martin Duggan for the England Lions team. Bert Johnson, 25 years old, and winner of heat 12 from Billy Hamill, from Gert Handberg. As the Danes extend their lead. Heat 13, Henrik Gustafsson in red, Gert Handberg again in white, and Thorpe in yellow and black. And that was again an extremely close first turn, and the Dane found himself pushed right out to the outside. So it's Henrik Gustafsson that has the advantage at the moment, but the Dane, Gert Handberg, fights back for 2 points through the bumps. He is doing all he can to hang on to that. Rick Miller, who is the reserve, by the way. This is his first ride as reserve for the Americans. And of course Paul Thorpe, reserve for the England Lions team. It's his first ride as well. So, battling away for the last point of the reserve. But at the front is Henrik Gustafsson from Gert Handberg, from Rick Miller of the USA, and from Paul Thorpe of the England Lions. But we grab 3 points. While the Danes can only manage on this occasion a mere 2 points for second place, and Rick Miller for the US not really making up for the night's rides of this meeting. Certainly the current holders, as if they're not going to do anything as far as retaining the World Team Cup. We're on to heat 14 now. The lineup: Tommy Knudsen again, Martin Duggan, Jimmy Nilsson and Greg Hancock. Pretty close to the point where the Danes only need a few points really to have this championship in the bag, but it is Jimmy Nilsson fighting with Martin Duggan. Martin Duggan, an absolute flyer from the England Lions there. This is the kind of thing that lifts the English riders. Tommy Knudsen though finds the drive from somewhere. Nobody knows where he did it, but he found it. Got the grip, found the traction, and Duggan coming under extreme pressure from Jimmy Nilsson. So the Swedes got through now in second place. Duggan pushed back to the 1 point scoring third place, but Duggan is not over and done with yet. Duggan fights back for second place. Or does he? Greg Hancock having a look through now. Well, what a battle this is. The best race of the night so far. Last lap then. Tommy Knudsen managing to keep himself in front of the melee behind him for the 2 points, which is held currently just by Martin Duggan from the Swede, Jimmy Nilsson from Greg Hancock in the non-point scoring last place. Tommy Knudsen from Martin Duggan. Well, there's Danish team manager Kjeld Lund punching the air because he knows the Danes are close to winning. Well, they won that one. The series is almost in the bag. Right, this could be critical. The lineup for heat 15 is Jano Peterson. They certainly put out their good men when they want the points. Tony Rickardson for the Swedes. Billy Hamill for the Americans, and Gary Havelock, English Lions team captain. That is the score so far. The Danes just need a maximum here, and they have got this World Team Speedway final in the bag. So 3 points from this man Janno Petersen will see them win this championship, and then it's all showboating for the final 5 heats, because there are 5 more heats after this one. Oh, Janno Petersen on the inside gate. Well, that's proved to be just about fastest so far tonight. So Petersen knows what he's got to do. If he can win this, he wins the championship for the Swedes. Heat 15 kicks underway. Petersen straight into a lead, followed by Tony Rickardson for the Swedes. Blue-helmeted Billy Hamill for the US team in third, under extreme pressure from Gary Havelock. Gary Havelock then snatches third place from the American Bill Hamill. But Janno Petersen in a championship winning position. If he gets these 3 points, the Danes cannot be headed in the championship. And I really am not a man that can bet against it, I've got to say. Janno Petersen leads for the day of Heat 15 of the 20 Heat Championship. Well, the style of the man. Hard to see how he's going to be beaten in this race. There's something disastrous happened. The ability of these machines has improved over the years 100-fold. Janno Petersen then from Tony Rickardson, from Billy Hamill, from Gary Havelock, horseback into 4th place. Well, that's it as far as the Danes are concerned. The Danes now cannot be headed as the Danish crowd at Vojens, testament to the achievement. I suppose the only thing now the Danes have got to go for is a record point score for the World Team Final. Well, there it is. Danish team onto the track. Early celebrations for them. Janno Petersen gets the customary leg up. 17,000 patriotic Danes screaming their heads off. Quite rightly too. Well, Denmark really. We thought they'd be good, and they've not disappointed us at all there. Tells the team manager. Gerald Lund, very happy with that indeed. We go on then to Heat 16. Oh, and that is extremely tight. And that is Sam Emelianenko. The US team captain finds himself with nowhere to go except to lay it down or the fence. So, well, no great drama there, Sam Emelianenko. He certainly had worse than that. I think that was a coming together between the American and Per Johnson, the red-helmeted Per Johnson. Let's have a look at our replay now. Per Johnson, number 1 in the red helmet there. Kicks it sideways and just manages to collect Emelianenko's leg. Well, it was all very close indeed. I think that will be adjudged as basically just a speedway first turn minor incident. Let's have a look and see how they're lining up. 4 riders back on the grid. That's a good decision. Confirmation along there of the point scoring. The Danes so far in front, they've won it of course. But the Americans and the Swedes, it's all on for the second place. The English team look well out of it with only 8 points. But it's on for the Americans and the Swedes. They've got a fight for second place. What's the name? Heat 16 restart. Hans Nielsen absolutely flies away from the outside gate. He has behind him Per Johnson, team captain for the Swedes. Well, the Swedes obviously, but Emelianenko gets himself to the second place. Well, it's really the second place at the moment. It's between the Swedes and the Americans. But look at this. Marvin Cox finds himself up there in second place. Cox is in second place. But it's this man, Hans Nielsen, showboating at the front of the field, just going for the biggest score ever in the World Team Final for the Danes. Oh, what a great ride from Marvin Cox. Superb class. As is this man, race leader, Hans Nielsen. Cox is not letting Nielsen get away. Cox is having a great ride in second place. Marvin Cox then for the England Lions. It's not over yet. Per Johnson for the Swedes gets that 1 point and moves ahead in second place as a team from the Americans, because Sam Emelianenko can only manage 4th place and an on-point scoring position. Red helmet Jimmy Nielsen blue helmeted American Rick Miller, white helmeted Brian Carger, and yellow and black helmeted Chris Louis. Started trying to get them under control. Come on boys, get yourself lined up. To the tapes. And here's Carger for the Danes. His first ride out. I'm sure he'll be nervous, but he knows the work's over and done with, so no real pressure on him. He'll have a good ride. And they're away then for heat 17. And Jimmy Nilsson for the Swedes blasts into the lead from Brian Carger, the white helmeted Dane. Eyes are disappearing over the fence there, but it's Rick Miller for the Americans now, moving through into second place. Well, the Swedes picking up a point extra here and there over the US team, and they really do need to. Remember, the US team were the current holders. They've had that snatch from the Danes here at Vojens. Jimmy Nilsson for the Swedes though leads this heat 17 from Rick Miller, from Brian Carger, from Chris Louis in an on-point scoring place. Well, 19 there today, white helmeted Brian Carger, reserved for the team. His services needed that greatly on this particular occasion. But Jimmy Nilsson for the Swedes wins from Rick Miller for USA, from Brian Carger for the Danish team, from Chris Louis for the English Lions. Jimmy Nilsson moves the Swedes one more point in front of the Americans. Grid lineup then for heat 18 is Hans Nielsen in the white helmet for the Danes, Henrik Gustafsson for the Swedes, Marvin Cox, the determined Marvin Cox, it has to be said, for the English Lions, and Greg Hancock trying to salvage some points if he can to bring the Americans back up into that second place. The Swedes hold it at the moment, as you can see there from our caption. The English Lions team struggling down in fourth place, it has to be said, but the pressure really on Greg Hancock now for the Americans. Greg Hancock, 21 years old, really has got to do the business in this race if they are to finish in just that second place in the final, which is currently held by the Swedes. Hans Nielsen then for the Danes. Not really a lot for him to do except showboating. Hans Nielsen is the captain of the Danish team. Heat 18 gets underway. And I don't know where the Danes find the drive from. It doesn't matter what gate they start from. Nielsen then blasts into the lead from the extremely determined Marvin Cox. Marvin Cox deputising, remember, for the injured Kelvin Tatum, and doing a good job to all intents and purposes. Well, one thing the English team hasn't lacked, and that's determination. But of course, if it's race wins you need, Hans Nielsen's the man for the job. Hans Nielsen then leads for the Danes from an extremely determined yellow and black Marvin Cox. Cox holding on, an equally determined Swede, Henrik Gustafsson in red, to his right, and to his left, Greg Hancock for the US. Well, really, the US need to make some points up here somewhere if they're the finishing runner-up spot. Over the bumps, Hans Nielsen holds first place in this heat 18. Now the Swede, Henrik Gustafsson, has moved through into second place. Big wheelie there for Hans Nielsen. Well, I said showboating, and we are not going to be disappointed. Henrik Gustafsson for the Sweden finishes in second place, extending their lead over the US. Marvin Cox for the England Lions team finishes in third, and Greg Hancock in a non-point scoring last heat 19 lineup. Point scoring so far along the bottom of your screen there. Confirmation that the Swedes now hold a 4-point advantage for second place over the Americans in third, over the Brits trailing in last place. In fourth, the white helmeted Tommy Knudsen sits patiently, yellow and black Gary Havelock, team captain for the England Lions, beside him. Emalenko here as well. Sam Emalenko in blue, US team captain, looking to try and maximise and gets a great start from the outside at the tape. Brilliant start there from Emalenko for the US, absolutely incredible. Emalenko clears off in the lead from the white helmeted Tommy Knudsen, but cutting on the inside of him is Tony Rickardson, runner-up in the individual world final. And a man that knows that he mustn't let the Americans get too far in front if they're to retain this Swedish team second place in this final so far, but Emelianenko leads from the red helmeted Tony Rickardson for the Swedes, from the white helmeted Tommy Knudsen for the Danes, from Gary Havelock, England team captain, trailing in an on-point scoring position, back in last place. Last lap then. Oh, Emelianenko certainly looks to have this under control. Rickardson holds second. Knudsen. I look down my notes. Knudsen in third place. That's the first one-point scoring position the Danes have had all night. Doesn't really matter, of course, fairly academic. Sam Emelianenko then wins and claws back 1 point on the Swedes. So 3 points now the advantage the Swedes hold over the Americans for that second place. For this Heat 20, the final heat of the night, Per Johnson in red, Billy Hamel for the Americans in blue with a great uphill task, and Jano Petersen in white for the Danes. Well, while we wait for the Swede to take his place, the team captain, of course, Per Johnson in the red helmet. He knows all he has to do is get 1 point here to secure Sweden's second place in this 91 World Team Final. Himself ready for Heat 20. White helmet there, Jano Petersen on the outside. That's never affected the Danes from their starting, and they're gaining really well. And again, Jano Petersen. Another great start from him. In the blue helmet, Billy Hamel. Now he must win this race with the Swede, Per Johnson, not scoring. Well, I think that's a pretty tall order to expect, and I think he's got to be extremely lucky to be able to achieve that, especially with Jano Petersen in the form that he did tonight. Petersen leads from Billy Hamel, from Per Johnson, from Martin Duggan for the English Lions. Petersen, immaculate as ever, at the front of the field, in the final heat of the World Team Speedway Final, on the last lap. Well, the American Billy Hamel is going to have to settle with his team for third place in this year's final. Current holders America, of course, being beaten back to third place. Well, that leaves the point scoring by my reckoning, and it's yet to be officially confirmed. The Danes win, obviously, from the Swedes in second place, from the Americans in third, and from a trailing English Lions team. And there they are then. So Denmark win by a record amount, 51 points, absolutely dominating this World Teams Final 91 from Sweden, from the USA current holders down.